Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope all of you are doing great. In the previous chapter, we have studied about the formation of words. This chapter, uh, which is chapter number 6, titled as Morphology, is also about words. Let us see what is morphology. The term morphology means the study of forms. By forms, here in linguistics, we mean words. WORDS, words. The word morphology was originally used in biology, but linguistics borrowed it, and since the middle of the 19th century, it has become a part of study in linguistics, a type of study in linguistics. It investigates the basic forms, which are words of a language. It actually is a deep and detailed investigation of words. We investigate words, their internal structure, their formation, the relationship between different elements within a word, and the word's relationship with other words. In the graphic representation given here, you can see that morphology, the word morphology comes from Greek words, and it itself has two elements. One, morph, which means form, and the other, ology, which means the study of something of interest, the research or study of interest. So let's move towards next slide. Morphemes. By definition, morpheme is a minimal unit of meaning or grammatical function. To understand that, we need to look at the following examples first. For example, the example of I have written a few examples here: talk, talker, talked, talking. Then walk. The next word is bake, and we see different forms of same words here. You can see all these words have two elements, or these elements are called morphemes. Um, one is talk, walk, and bake, which have meaning. These words contain meanings. They can stand alone as a single meaningful unit. These are called stems. But all stems are not containers of meaning. Why? We shall see it in one of the coming slides. By definition, a stem is the base form to which affixes are attached in the formation of words. We know that affixes are of three types, we have studied in the previous chapter: prefixes, suffixes, and infixes. But the other in these words, like in the examples which I have given you in this slide: talks, talker, talked, talking, walks, walker, walked, walking, you see the other elements such as s at the end of walk, talk, and bake, then er, then ed and ing that are added to the stems. These forms don't have meaning, but they are performing some grammatical function. They are either telling us about the verb is occurring with the third person singular pronoun, which are he, she, and it, as we already know, or they tell us about the verb being the past form. Or when these morphemes occur with nouns, we know that they are telling us about the noun being a plural form. Next is free and bound morphemes. We have forms or types of morphemes. Free morphemes are those morphemes that can stand by themselves as single words. For example, walk, talk, bake, open, and tour, and other words which we speak every day in our communication. Then are bound morphemes. Bound morphemes are those morphemes that cannot stand alone and must be attached to another morpheme to convey meaning, such as, for example, the prefix re, re, or the suffix ed, ed. And in the word I have given here, reopened, you can see both the prefix re and the suffix ed are used with the free morpheme open. So we have one free morpheme, that is the stem, and then we have two bound morphemes, re and ed. In one of the previous slides, I told you that all stems are not containers of meanings or single standing whole words. Now we will see how and why. There are a number of English words in which the elements treated as the stem are not in fact free morphemes. In words such as receive, reduce, repeat, we can identify the bound morpheme re, which is a prefix re at the beginning, but the elements which are left behind. For example, if we see the example of receive, if we take re as a bound morpheme, the remaining part, which is CEIVE, is not a separate word. Similarly, I have given a few other examples here. These are not separate word forms, hence cannot be free morphemes. These are not free morphemes. These types of forms are sometimes described as bound stems. We call them bound stems to keep them distinct from free stems such as dress or care. Now comes lexical and functional morphemes. Lexical morpheme is a free form that that is a content word, either a noun or verb or adjective. We can add new lexical morphemes to the language rather easily. So they are treated as open class of words. We can say that these words carry some message. And you see, every day we hear about new words being added to nouns, to verbs. For example, a few years ago, no one knew about a thing named Bluetooth. Or there are many other new words which are nouns. And every day we learn about new verbs and adjectives. There are so many adjectives, and every day or every few every little time we see new words being added to these categories. Then comes functional morpheme. It is a free morpheme that is used as a function word. These are not lexical words, these are functional words. They do not contain meaning, but they carry a function of grammatical function with them. These are also free forms, these are not bound. We are not talking about suffixes or prefixes or infixes. We are talking about conjunctions, for example, and, or, but, so, and prepositions in, on, around, about. There are many other examples. Because we almost never add new functional morphemes to a language, they are also called closed class of words. Now comes derivational and inflectional morphemes. Derivational morphemes are bound morphemes such as the suffix ish, used to make new word or words of a different grammatical class or category. For example, boyish. We know boy is a noun, and when we add ish at its end as a suffix, we get a new word that is an adjective. So a word changes its category, grammatical category, from noun to adjective. Similarly, the addition of the derivational morpheme ness, that is a suffix once again, changes the adjective good to noun goodness. In the previous example, we saw that a noun was changed to adjective, and here we see that uh, an adjective is being changed into a noun. The noun care can become the adjective careful or careless. with addition of derivational morphemes full or less. So we can say that derivational morphemes are those bound morphemes that change the grammatical class or category of a word, while inflectional morphemes are those bound morphemes that are used to indicate the grammatical function of a word, also called an inflection. For example, here I have given example of dogs and walked. We know dog is a single noun, and when we add s at its end, it becomes dogs. That still is noun, but it carries a plural form. So with an inflectional morpheme, we cannot change a verb to noun or noun to adjective or adjective to noun. With an inflectional morphemes, a verb remains a verb, but its function changes. A noun remains a noun, but its form, either singular or plural, it is indicated with these morphemes. For example, if with a verb talk we add ed, the suffix, it will indicate the past tense of the verb. Initially it was talk, and then it became talked. English has only 8 inflectional morphemes. These are: if a noun occurs with a possessive form, we know that an apostrophe and s gives us a possessive noun that shows the possession of someone. For example, teacher, and after the word teacher we add an apostrophe and s, it becomes teachers. That something belong to your teacher. Then plural marker s, as I have given example of dog and dogs. Then verb, if the s at the end of the verb occurs, it tells us that the verb is being used with a third person singular pronoun. And you can see the other examples in this slide. Ing shows present participle. Ed as a suffix as a suffix tells us past tense. Then or en shows the past participle form. Adjective, when comes as a, single word without any uh, inflectional morpheme added with it, it is the positive form. Then we have comparative form of adjective, and then we have superlative form of adjective. With addition of er, a positive form of adjective is converted to comparative, and then with the addition of est, a positive form of adjective is converted into superlative form of adjective. So these are two types of bound morphemes. When we are talking about derivational and inflectional morphemes, these both are types of bound morphemes. Next, let's see it in a form of a picture, a diagram, a figure. Morphemes have two types, free and bound. Then free morphemes have two other types, lexical and functional. And bound morphemes have two other types, that are derivational or inflectional. Let's see what is a morph. Morph, an actual form used as part of a word, representing one version of a morpheme, or we can say the actual form used to realize a morpheme. I have given example of cats, consists of two morphs. One is cat, a noun, and then uh, an s at its end, which shows that it becomes a plural form, cats, realizing a lexical morpheme. Cats is a lexical morpheme which carries a meaning, and inflectional morpheme s, that shows that it is a plural. So we have two morphemes here, one is lexical and other is inflectional. Similarly, in the word buses, we see it also consists of two morphs. One is bus, that is a singular noun. Then es, that is an inflectional morpheme, inflectional morph that tells us about being plural, buses. Then allomorph, one of the closely related set of morphs. Cat plus its plural, cats. But when bus is made plural, we do not call it bus, we call it buses. Similarly, sheep has a same plural form that is known as sheep. And when we convert a man into its plural form, it becomes men. In each of these examples, the actual form of the morph that results from the morpheme plural are different, yet they are all allomorphs of one morpheme, which is inflectional morpheme. We are adding an inflectional morpheme to make these words plural, but the actual uh, form or the shape of those morphemes are different. So in addition to s and s, the sound buses, if we look at the sound is here, another allomorph of plural in English seems to be a zeromorph, because the plural form of sheep is actually sheep. There is nothing added to make the plural form, so it is a zeromorph. When we look at the example of man plus plural, we have a vowel change in the word. A is changed to a. A is replaced by e as the morph that produces the irregular plural form men. So I hope it is all clear to you. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the lecture. That will be on Google Meet or Zoom as it suits you or me. Thank you so much.